Today, my guest is a very special person to me, and an amazing powerhouse when it comes to leadership and wisdom and all of the things that we want in life in general. But we are going to take a look at just a little bit of her corporate backdrop. Now, her name is Linda LoRe, and she has been a career CEO. So she has been running some of the biggest brands in our country, and she was the youngest female CEO of a Fortune 500 company when she was just 36. She's been at the head of companies like Giorgio Beverly Hills in the fashion and beauty industry, Avon, divisions of Procter & Gamble, and then a 10-year stint at Fredericks of Hollywood. She is now the CEO of Enjoy Global, and we'll let her explain a little bit about that entire journey. So she has been at the top of the corporate game for decades. She is renowned globally for creating amazing teams, for being a strategist, someone who can clearly see the vision, not only the vision, but lay down the strategy of how to get from point A to point B. But here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want you to know about Linda. She does all of that high-level corporate stuff with heart. I have met dozens of people who have worked for Linda over the years, and to a person, they all say that working for her has been or was the single best tenure of their career because of how she brings out the best in people, because of what she does to create and get the best people around each other, and then allows them, and she may explain a little bit around this directed autonomy, but giving them permission to be their best selves. So without further ado, Linda LoRe, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yes, so great to have you. So we're going to jump right in, and what I'd like to start with is, could you give us your definition of success?
I read this in a book, and actually I think it's a title of a book, and it stayed with me for about the last 40 years, I'd say. And it is kind of a mantra for me, and that is that success is the quality of your journey. Mm-hmm. And that's all of the elements of the journey, because success allows you to fail and recover. Success allows you to have those moments at the mountaintop. Success allows you to develop resiliency. It's all of the things that if we look at every gift that's brought to us, whether it's challenging or whether it's exuberance, and we incorporate that into who we are and take it with us, then we are successful. Because it creates a whole person, a happiness or a joy or an intention around getting where we want to go.
So, this is really important, the quality of the journey. So many of us, I think we all struggle with, like, maybe we know the goal, maybe we know where we want to be in the future, mm-hmm. but how do we start to live from a place of enjoying or trying to create a high quality experience day by day?
It's an easy answer and very difficult to implement. And that is to really recognize the small things that create, we'll call it wins, in your daily, weekly, monthly experience. Because what happens often, particularly in business, is we give someone a goal. We don't even allow them to set the goal for themselves. In corporate America, that's one of our big downfalls, I think. But if we can sit with someone and help them create a goal that is beneficial and that they can feel really great about achieving, everyone wins. The company wins, the person wins, and all the people around them win too, because you bring everybody along with you. The answer to the question that you're asking is really to be able to look at each step along the way as the sum of the parts, which equal the total. And it's very hard, especially in the world we live in today, where everything is transactional, to really say, okay, that's my goal, and that's out there, and now how do I draw it back in and allow myself to see that I'm on the path of obtaining my goal? starts with setting a goal, actually.
So I know there's a procedure, and I when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. And we don't have to go deep into it, but can you share how you like take teams through just the framework of actually setting a goal? I think we all hear setting a goal so important, but
Yeah.
the how seems to be something that people
The how is important. The why is even more important. So to set an objective so that you can get to your goal, the goal is kind of a measurement of achievement. It has to start with what do I want to do and why do I want to do it? Because if I can get my head wrapped around that, then I'm really clearly focused on taking the steps to get there. I use a process that I learned when I worked at Procter & Gamble, and a lot of people use tools like this. There's a lot of different names of them. The one that I use is the OGSM, Objective, Goal, Strategy, Measurement. And what that really does, and you can do this even for a simple goal in your life at home, in your relationships or whatever. The objective is why you want to achieve that. You know, a vision is very long. Visionary people are phenomenal. You're a visionary, Jeff, because I've seen this many times. You set out a vision, and then if you have no roadmap to get there, you're never going to get there. So if I've got this vision, what kind of an objective can I set for myself that's shorter term than I want to have a great life? That's my vision. I'm going to have a great life. I'm going to have a wonderful life filled with family and friends and a great career and all of that. Well, that's wonderful. But how do I do that? So if you can break it down and set an objective, which is why do I want to be where I want to be? So this year, I want to be the preeminent company that brings happiness to people. Let's just say that's the goal, because I know a company that wants that really, really well. And so that's the objective. I want to be the preeminent company. And what's the goal for that? Well, the goal is, what do I want to do this year that's going to help me get to that bigger vision, to become that preeminent company? So you set a goal, and then you stretch yourself. So if I say, oh, okay, I'm going to have 15 clients, and I'm going to bring my message in this way or that way. So you stretch yourself. So my goal is to be in the upper quartile of self-help companies, or of service companies, or of product deliveries, or whatever it is. And then you get to the next part, and that's what are the strategies that are going to get me there. And that's the part that people often omit. They put the tactics in there, which are individual transactional things, but they don't put a strategy together. And that's where, that's the piece that I learned early in my career that helped me the most to help guide organizations and to keep myself responsible and accountable.
So I love this as a leader listening, this idea of being able to articulate, create the why, put into place some of these things allows for a framework for people to thrive.
Correct.
Without that, I think a lot of leaders might run into either frustration or disappointment at all levels.
Well, over the years, and I'll say I've been doing this for about, I'm not going to say how many years because it's a lot. No, I've been doing this for about 40 years. So over the years, what's happened is I've seen time frames compress more and more and more, and actions get put down that never get achieved because people abandon their goals so quickly. Because something is not happening, or someone comes in from corporate and says, no, we're not going to do that anymore. We're now going to go this way. What happens when that happens is you create a chaos in an organization that is already part of working is a chaotic environment in and of itself. So if you look at Plato's model where it's chaos and control, you're never going to have 100% control. And that's crazy to try to get that, because then you get a command and control environment. You create a culture that is it doesn't allow for creativity or for opportunities to come in. But what Plato was so brilliant about was that controlled chaos is a way that we can achieve great and masterful things. So if, for example, when we were doing fragrances, or we were making bras, or we were creating, great commercials, or whatever it is, if you don't have a way to achieve what you want to do, you've got to know how long it takes. And you've got to really set your sights on, don't be so quick. I'd like to share a really quick story about that. And that is, I recall one time we were doing something in the creative realm around a product. And this was when I was at Giorgio Beverly Hills. And this is when I was the senior VP of marketing. And I remember the creative department coming to me and giving me an entire change of things that they wanted to do. And it was around an advertising concept, because really the advertising in the 80s was really rock and roll. And so they came in and they presented this whole thing to them, and I looked at them and I said to the head of creative, I go, Bob, have we even run the commercial that you did, like previously? And he just looked at me and he goes, no, but this is where we need to go. I said, your mind is working so far ahead of the audience that we're serving. Let's let the one that we have show us what can be revealed. And I don't mind if you work on something new for the next thing, but don't be so fast to replace what we haven't even really taken advantage of yet. And that was a lesson for myself as well at that time, because when you're working far ahead of whatever it is that the output is going to manifest itself as, you've got to remember that you're working way ahead of what the customer is going to see
timeline.
or the actual timeline has, which is why we use Gantt charts and PERT charts and all of that, because it takes time to develop things. And I've noticed over the last few years that, I would say in the last decade, about the last 10 years, there has been a shorter and shorter and shorter attention span for success. Success defined by product success or company success, corporate success, whatever. And by taking those timelines and compressing them, I think we've done a disservice to what the world has to offer.